Hi people, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mystic Falls and today we are back in Planet Zoo. I am making a fantasy Asian inspired diorama. It will feature a half moon floating above water with waterfalls. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope you guys are also excited and just let's go to the speed build. Hi guys, so here we are. First things first, we're starting with the half moon. I used the Twilight Stalactite rocks and recolored them white. I thought the texture from this rock came closest to what I imagined the moon would look like. As you can see, I used the display panels yet again for the outline of the moon. It just makes it so much easier. I just have to fill it in and of course not draw across the line. I add some light and voila, we have the moon, sorta. As our reference picture of a lantern I thought would look really good with this build, so I basically used the tiny displays again to make some background for the inside, giving it the illusion that it's lit from within. The lantern is made from the East Asia lantern we have in game, just to make it bigger so it fits this display panels. And we are going to copy this lantern all around together with the paper lanterns we have in game later on in the build. I'm just gonna add some details. I want to make sure the lantern was lit good, since the panels are blocking most of the light from the lamp itself. So I added some candles on the outside and added an Indian lamp to create that little stash hanging from the lantern itself. We're gonna add some trees and flowers to the moon. To be honest, the light from the moon is quite a lot, so much so that all the trees and flowers get really lit and lose their colors and details actually. Unfortunately, at this point it would be way too much work to change this, since I didn't put my lights in a group and they're hidden in the rocks so I can't get the lights actually. It's kind of stupid, so a tip from me, always make sure you group your items together and leave one item outside of the build so you can get it later on and make changes if needed. Yeah, so you can avoid these kind of problems. As you can see, during the daylight you get the details back on there, so it also looks nice. I think both are pretty, but this build was meant for the night. So we're starting with the island now, reshaping it and smoothing it down. We're going to add water on the top. I struggled quite long with this, since there needs to be a keeper gate to get the animals in, and that needs to be on land. There were 2 barrier pools that just wouldn't go down. So I had to readjust quite some to finally get the water in. I wanted to stay as close to the edge of the island as possible. The water is quite shallow. I did do this on purpose so you can see the ground better for the rocks we're gonna make later. It's sad though that the animals can't deep dive, but it looks pretty, and this is a fantasy build and it is made for sandbox, so I think it's okay. So like I said before, we are going to we're gonna add the water in, as you can see, and then later on we're gonna add the rocks. I really wanted this build to be mystical, so I colored the rocks a certain color scheme that I will use throughout the build. You will also see later on. We're gonna add these, copy paste, and then add these all throughout the floor, the water floor. My first plan was to use some other kinds of rocks, the same twilight rocks I used for the moon. Unfortunately, this was just way too many rocks to cover the full floor, and it basically just crashed my game. So those are deleted and we added these rocks. I wanted lanterns on the water too, so I found a reference picture of a floating lantern festival from Japan, I believe. Those were perfect to recreate for this build. I used a big Amazon water lily as a base and used a 2D font to make the sides of the lantern. Add some wood from the Twilight pack to hold it all down. Unfortunately, I did not find a good way to add the scriptures on the side, which they do have on the reference picture, but it also looks good without, so we are gonna keep it this way. Adding some flowers, adding the tiny candles. I really love them. You will see me use them later on also, and I've used them before. We're gonna make two versions of the water lilies so it doesn't feel repeated. So we're gonna copy and paste this all throughout the water actually. And it's starting to really come together by now. I struggled a bit with how to make this build look good with all the different lights, and also what I should add. Definitely at the end you can see me struggling with the lights. You can see it flickers a lot. Yeah, because there's gonna be so much different lights from all angles. Yeah, so you will see that later on. I will mention it also. I roughly worked a week and a week and a half on this build, which is not bad at all. Amazing actually, compared to some of my other builds. I really love this, and the inspiration was definitely there. So I really love working on this. So I hope you guys also feel really inspired after this video. So the rest of the speed build will be making of the air balloon and the portal for the keeper gate and finishing everything off. For the air balloon I used the display panels again, and you can really see how helpful that was in maintaining the correct shape. I will be back later on after the speed build, so enjoy and see you later. guys, welcome back to the finished build. I am so happy how it turned out to be. I think it's really pretty, especially with all the lights and the color scheme, and it's in nighttime. Obviously you are seeing some flickering going on. I can't really do anything about that for now. I also did forget to mention what animals are in here, but that's the Asian small clawed otter and the red crane. I'm also gonna upload this to the Steam Workshop if you're interested. I will try to put it in the description down below. Yeah, so enjoy some cinematics. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you next time. Bye.